Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for another rendition of Mr. Ray's Real Estate? Let's go. Let's get this money, baby. If you want to be a real estate millionaire, baby, you came to the right place because we're in the business of creating. That's what we do, baby. We create minority real estate millionaires out of thin air. Oh, yes, we do, baby. I teach them everything I know, and then they go out and they execute according to what I tell them to do. Hello, everybody. So happy to see you. We're talking about a new lesson today. A new lesson is going down, babies. And you need to know for sure that this lesson that we're going to be doing this month, this is the bread and butter of what Mr. Ray does in his business. This is the money is made. We call it the BRRRR strategy. Did somebody say BRRRR? Oh, it's BRRRR. It's cold in here, baby. We talking about the BRRRR strategy, baby. You got to buy it right. You got to rehab it. You got to refinance it. You got to rent it. And then you got to, oh, it's going to get cold in here. Let's talk about the BRRRR strategy, baby. Y'all ready to go? Let's get it. BRRRR them up, baby. All right, let's talk about this thing, baby. What's up on the BRRRR, Mr. Ray? Tell us about the BRRRR. Okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to explain to you step by step, A to Z, how to do the BRRRR strategy. Now, I may miss a few things here and there. I'm not going to be totally exhausted, but you're going to get the best of the best when we're talking about the BRRRR strategy, baby. So what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is, this week, we're going to talk about the buy part of the BRRRR strategy, right? How do you buy the property right? And then next week, we're going to talk about rehabbing the property. And then we got to get it refinanced, baby. And then you rent it. And then the last R is repeat that process all over again. So you buy, you rehab, you refinance, you rent, and you just keep doing that model, baby. And you never know. You might just be a millionaire when it's all said and done. So let's talk about it. Mr. Ray, would you please explain to me in simple layman terms, what is the BRRRR strategy? Well, the BRRRR strategy, let me explain it to you like this. First of all, you've got to buy a property at wholesale value. You can't go out here on the retail and do the BRRRR strategy. It doesn't work. You got to buy a property 40 to 60% of the after repair value, okay? And then you got to make sure that you're not putting down any more than 20% when you're financing the property. And then you got to make sure that you rehab the property up to 75%. This is key, and we'll talk about this later, but you only want to rehab it up to 75%. You want to keep that 25% equity in your pocket. That's your money. You want to keep that in your pocket. And then you got to be able to rent the property out using the 1% rule, which means the 1% of the property value is what you should be getting in rent. We're going to explain all of that, but that is the BRRRR strategy. And finally, you're going to refinance it at 75% of the ARV. That's why I said you only can rehab it up to 75%, because you're going to turn right around and refinance it for 75% and get all, if not most, of your money back. That's what we're talking about, baby. You want to take the same money and you want to recycle it. So no questions right now. I'm going to let you ask questions at the end of this, and I am going to post this video so you can go back and view it at your convenience. Now that we know what the strategy is overall, and we're talking about the buy piece of the equation. So Mr. Ray, what is it that we buy? What are you looking for when you're buying these properties at 40 to 60%? What are the other criteria that determines that you're going to make this a BRRRR property? Well, first of all, again, you got to buy it at a discount. You can't do the BRRRR property and go out here and get some retail value, buy a house for retail and BRRRR it. It's not, the numbers are not going to make sense. They're not going to work. And I'll show you here in a minute why they won't work. You got to purchase properties that are in good neighborhoods that the properties are appreciating. That way you're getting more equity. Okay, it's very important that you buy these properties because these are buy and hold. You're not looking to sell these properties. You're buying them and you're basically cash flowing it. These are your cash flow babies, all right? You got to purchase properties that are in need of repairs. Again, can't buy market value stuff. You got to buy 40, 60% discount. And you got to buy these properties from owners who have an incentive to sell. That means they don't want to do any work on the property. They're going through a divorce. They lost their job. I mean, these are bad times for these people. And you're coming in and you're offering them a discount, cash money for the property. You say, Mr. Ray, well, what if I don't have the cash? Well, I can show you how to get the cash, all right? But you're going to have cash to do these deals. Banks are not going to do these deals. And then always purchase the properties with the end in mind. Always start with the ARV. Always know after I fix this property up, what is it going to be worth? That's why I spend so much time making you all do the homework, trying to figure out these ARVs and what is the comparables that you're going to use, because it's very, very important that you get that number right or be very close, or you're going to mess it up and you're going to lose money. And we don't want you to lose money, do we, baby? No, no, no. So follow Mr. Ray's rules all the way to the T. Now, we're going to continue to talk about what is it, what type of property, Mr. Ray, do I need to make sure that I'm buying? Well, there's a couple other things. You got to buy a property that cash flows. Well, what do you mean cash flow? I mean that you got to buy properties at the end of the day, after you pay the principal, interest, the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, everything, at the end of the month, you got to have a positive number there. And for me, my positive number at least has to be $200, or it's not even worth my time. So I got to make at least $200 cash flow over and above whatever I'm making as far as payment on that property and mortgages and all that. And we'll go through the whole cash flow deal here in a minute, but it's got a cash flow. Number two, you want to buy properties that are A and B class, right? When we talked about A class or 150, 200,000, B class or right around 100,000 to 150, C class or anywhere from 50 to 100. You're going to have more problems trying to rent properties in C class areas. You want to stay in A, particularly B. B is the sweet spot. B are properties right around $100,000, 150, middle class neighborhoods, up and growing, got good equity. Those are the type properties that you want to be looking for. And then, of course, you want properties that are in high rent neighborhoods, right? You want to get the highest rent that you can. So you're looking to purchase properties that are run down, beat up, need repairs in high rent neighborhoods. You want to purchase properties that are near highways, shopping, good schools. You want all that working for you, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to rent that property out for top value. And people are looking to live in areas that are near shopping, good schools, highways, and things like that, okay? You don't want to buy next to the dump, right? You don't want to be the sanitation department coming down this street all the time. No, that's not going to get you good rent, baby. And for me, I only purchase properties that are 3-bed, at least 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car, and a minimum of 1,200 square feet. That's for me, that's a sweet spot for me. So any property that I'm going to BRRRR, baby, it's got to at least have those dimensions. So let's talk a little bit about the average, the after repair value. Now I preach this, teach this, talk this, kind of put it in your head. The after repair value is the value of that property after it's been repaired, right? That's all it is. It's the price that people are willing to purchase. It is the value of the average of all the houses that's selling in that area, right? We've done homework. We've been through that. I think everybody on this line now knows what the after repair value. So that's where we always start, with the after repair value. But the other thing that you want to look at, so after you look at a property, you say, okay, well, you know, the after repair value looks pretty good. Well, what about the rent in that area? Well, based on how much you're paying for that property, we have what we call the 1% rule. And we say that property, the rent you should be able to get in that area should be at least 100% of the ARV. Let's say that this property is ARV $100,000. 1% of that is $1,000. So for a $100,000 property, at a minimum, we got to be able to get $1,000 in order to make the BRRRR strategy work. Now you say some people use the purchase price and not the ARV. We'll talk about that later, because sometimes I use the purchase price and sometimes I use the ARV. Okay, we'll talk about that. But the 1% rule says 1% of the ARV at least got to get that in rent. Okay. The other key piece that you need to understand when you're buying property is what the banks refer to as loan to value. That is, the loan that you're taking, what is it to the value of the property? Okay, so loan to value looks like it is the percentage of the ARV that the bank is willing to loan on the property. The banks won't loan you 100%. If the property worth $100,000 on investment property, they're not going to loan you $100,000. They're only going to loan you a percentage of that. Typically, it's between 70 and 75%. So let's assume that our house is $100,000. The bank loan to value, they say, well, we'll give you 75% of that, Mr. Ray, which is $75,000. That's what the loan to value means. Okay, 75% is normally what banks use. So now we know loan to value. Now let's talk about, we've talked about maximum allowable offer. Let's go over that again, because this is a key piece in making sure that you're purchasing the property at a wholesale value. Okay, we're not talking retail, we're not doing retails. All right, so here's what the formula looks like. So the loan to value percentage, which we're going to be using 75%, is 75%, say it's a percentage of the after repair value less the cost of repairs is going to give you the maximum allowable offer. Okay, let's look at what that looks like. So let's assume that we have a property. We've determined that this property is worth $100,000 after it's repaired, because that's based on what the other houses are selling for in that area. We're going to assume this house needs $25,000 in repairs, right? And we know that the loan to value that banks are willing to loan is 75%. All right, so we take the 75% of the 100,000, we get 75K is what we're going to start at our number at. But we got to back the number, got to back another number out of that. So we know the bank will give us 75,000, but we also know we got 25,000 in repair. So the maximum we can offer on this property would be $50,000 in order for us to make the BRRRR strategy work. Okay, that's a given. You got to get properties 40–60% of the ARV. In this case, we're trying to get it for 50% of the ARV. Okay, so that's the maximum allowable offer, the after repair value times the loan to value percentage less the repairs, maximum allowable offer. All right, so let's do one. Let's do it quickly, Mr. Ray. Let's figure this thing out. I got a property and I need to figure out, is this going to be a BRRRR? Am I going to be able to BRRRR this bad boy, right? Okay, so where do we always start with the maximum allowable offer. We're going to be figuring the monthly mortgage payment. Then we're going to determine the net cash flow. That's very important right there. And then I'll throw in a couple of extra ones, the net operating income, and then what is the return on the investment. So let's start there. Let's give you what my assumptions are. So we're going to assume, I like nice, easy numbers. So we'll do $100,000 as the ARV. We determined that because we did the comparables. We found out what properties are selling for in that area, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car, 1,200 square feet, got similar properties, boom. We know that the property is going to be worth $100,000. We also know that the bank downtown is going to loan me 75% on investment properties. And I also know that that loan is going to be, the maximum they'll go is 15 years at 6%. let's assume in this assumption that we only gonna need 5K repairs. So basically cosmetic, and then we're gonna have a $10,000 down payment. Okay. Let's also further assume that we have closing costs of $3,000. Our taxes that we're gonna pay on the property are $900 a year. The insurance is $800 a year. And then we're gonna assume a vacancy rate of 5% and 5% repairs. All these numbers we're gonna be using to solve for the things that we talked about earlier: net cash flow, net operating income, mortgage payment. These are the assumptions that we're going to be using. Ready, set, go. Let's do it, baby. So first of all, let's figure out what the monthly mortgage payment is. So we said that we assume that the maximum allowable offer is 75K. We're going to assume we're going to put 10% down. So now we got $65,000 plus the $3,000 in closing costs that we're going to finance. So we're going to be financing $68,000 on this particular property. So if we take $68,000 at 6 years at 6% for 15 years, we know that payment's going to be $573. How do you know that, Mr. Ray? Because I have an amortization schedule that I use that I can just plug it in, and it can tell me what that payment is going to be. And if you don't have an amortization schedule, Excel spreadsheet, let me know. I will send that to you. All you got to do is say, hey, Mr. Ray, text me that. And I will text that to you, or I'll email it to you. I'm sorry. So we know that the monthly payment is $573, but remember, we got other stuff we got to add in there, right? So in order to determine the net cash flow, based on $1,000 rent, remember, because we got to get at least $1,000. So we're going to assume we're going to get $1,000 rent for this property. But so we know the principal and interest is $573. We know the taxes per month is $75 because we divided that out by 12. We know the insurance is $66 a month, and then we can throw in the 5% and the 5% for vacancy and for maintenance. And for this particular example, the net cash flow is $184.51. That's the money that you get to keep, put in your pocket every month after you pay all of your bills. Okay, so I like to have $200 at least on most of my properties, but I'll take $184. Okay, if it's a good property in a good area, I will take that $184. So that's what the net cash flow would look like. It's pretty good net cash flow. Now let's look at the net operating income. The net operating income reflects the money that you make from operating the property, excluding the debt. Okay, so just take the debt out, the 537, and that'll be the net operating. So you have the net operating income equals the gross rent, $1,000 less the expenses, right? Don't include the mortgage, all the other expenses. So if we do that, then on this last example, we would take the $1,000, we subtract the 75 to 66 to 50. That means we got $758 a month for operating expenses, right? So now you take that 758 multiplied times 12, and that gives you an annual net operating income. Okay. Now let's look at return on investment. Return on investment is the annual net cash flows, which we just figured, divided by the total amount of money that you spent on the property. Okay. Now in this case, we put down $10,000 and we had $5,000 in repair. So we got a total of $15,000 in the game, because remember, we just went ahead and financed that $3,000 in the loan. Okay. So this is what my return on investment will look like. That $184 a month cash flow times 12 equals $2,200 a month is what I'm getting in cash flow. So I take that number and I divide it by the 15,000 that I have invested, and says I'm getting a 15% return on my money. I got $15,000 invested. I'm getting $2,000 every month. So I'm returning 15%. every month, return on investment. All right. That's a lot of stuff that we went through. Now we get to go back and talk and ask any questions that you have. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your questions? That is the BRRRR strategy, baby. The BRRRR strategy. Question.
Mr. Ray, I don't know how to ask this question, but how would you do return on investment for a land purchase?
A land purchase. Well, you don't have any of those expenses, right? The only expenses you got is the taxes and well, if you got insurance on it, you'd have that, and any maintenance that you've got. So you use those same numbers. I purchased it for 30,000. Well, it ain't cash flowing, right? So how you gonna get a return on your investment if it's not cash flowing?
You bought the land, the house. It was a house on that. You bought the house burned down. You knocked down the house and then sold it for the land.
Okay, then your return on investment is what? If you bought it for 30 and sold it for 40, then your return on investment is at 10,000, right? Divided by your 30, then you have about a 30% return on your investment if you did it like that.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay. What else? What other questions we got?
Mr. Ray, could you go back 2 slides, please?
Yep, sure can. Let's see. Which slide you looking for?
All right, wait. Let me see. It's maybe on that page. No, before that. Yeah.
This one? Or
No, before that. Yeah, you gotta go back. Okay. Never mind. It's right there.
Right
All
here?
right, never mind. I was just trying to, because I have forgot how you came up with the 184 exactly. So, but okay, I remember now. Bada boom, bada bang.
All right. What else?
Thank you.
What other questions? The BRRRR strategy, babe, you gotta buy it right. When I talked about these things right here, you gotta buy them with cash flow, babe. You gotta get good neighborhoods, high rent. You gotta make sure that you know that you're getting a discount, good areas, gotta be needed repair, all that good stuff. Have the ARV is your starting point, right? Gotta know where you're starting at. Any other questions? So y'all know where to buy, you know how to buy, you know how to figure out the numbers. Easy, easy peasy, baby, easy peasy. Let's see. So now when we talk about next week, we still got to talk about, okay, Mr. Ray, I don't have any money. How do I finance it? I'll show you how to get hard money to buy these properties and also get the rehab. So we'll talk about that next week. How do you find the money to do the rehab? Ooh, I'm gonna get out of here early today. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ray, I got a question.
Yo.
So what's your stand on renting to like college students in like a college town?
I stay away from it. And
Do you stay away from that?
Yeah, it is the reason why. Let's say you lease to, let's say it's just 2 of them. And normally it's 2 or 3 of them. And so they all on the lease. Something goes wrong, somebody ready to go home, mama didn't pay their money, whatever. So now what do? The lease is for $1,600. They all pay a portion of it, but somebody now is coming up short. Well, we got our part of the rent, but they don't have that. I can't do that. So usually what I do, I just don't rent the roommates and students like that.
Okay, so it doesn't matter to you if you got 2 people on the lease?
No, because now I'll say that because I rent to married people that are not married, right? They're living together, they got kids. They both on the lease. But for students, to me, students are a little bit different because they come and go, right?
Right.
If it's more mature couple, I'll consider that. But students, man, I just tell you, I stay away from it. There's some people that love it. They don't have a problem doing it. I don't do it for the reasons I say, because it'll go bad because one student will want to move out before the other. You know, they sharing the deposit, they sharing the utilities. Too many things can go wrong.
All right, gotcha.
But like I said, there's some people, they don't have a problem with it. And, you know, that's what they do. Like some people do Section 8. I don't do Section 8. I have my reasons. But some people like it because they get their check every month. And some people don't mind renting to students because, you know, sometimes the parents, now here's the only difference. If I get a parent that'll co-sign for the student, say, okay, if they don't pay this, I'll back it. And I know they own a home, they got a good job, I'll do it. But other than that, I won't.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. All right.
All right, what other questions? Questions, comments? The BRRRR strategy, baby. It's the only strategy for me. And let me show you. I was going to show you. I guess I got a little time here. I was going to show you. What you going to show them, Mr. Ray? Show them something. I was going. So I did. So Mr. Ray, have you done the BRRRR strategy? By golly, I have. Let me show you one. Let's see here. Y'all want some homework? I can give y'all some homework. Who wants homework? Raise your hand if you want some homework over in the chat box. Anybody that wants homework, I want to see you over in the chat box while I'm going over here. Show you this one property that I just did. Okay, I don't see nobody over there wanting no homework. Y'all funny. Anyway, so here's a BRRRR strategy that I implemented. So I bought this property in June of 20, and the price was $110,000. 30,000 was the rehab cost. At that time, the ARV, I figured it at 170. I rented the property, so I bought it. That's not right. I rented the property. That should be 9/1/21 for $1,100. Then I refinanced it for $100K, 5 years, 15 years. And so my payment was $618. So here, let me show you what those numbers look like when I did the net cash flow. So I got $1,100 rent. My principal interest payment was $618, taxes $142, insurance $90. I don't have vacancy and I don't have maintenance because I don't have that because I already have a $40,000, $50,000 sitting over here in an account that's just there for vacancy and maintenance. So I don't need to take it out of my monthly equation. If you don't have reserve set aside, then you need to put the 5% in there. So it'd be another $100. But in this case, this particular property cash flows me $250 a month in net cash flow. Okay, let's take a look at that property. Let's look at it. 1805 Ballard Drive. So Zillow, the Ballard. Doesn't have any good pictures up here because I basically, let's go to my rentals. I got some good pictures there. So this is Ballard. I just gave you the info on it. Ballard right here. Let me show you some pictures. Let's see, I'll have to do this to show you the pictures. So I'm renting it for $1,100 a month now, but next time it comes vacant, I'm gonna be raising the rent over to $1,200. Let's see. And I can't make those pictures any bigger. Oh yeah, I can. Here we go. So this is the this is after I rehabbed it. So I put 30,000 in, I put in new floors. Some of you all were with me when I rehabbed this and you got a chance to go over and see it. Totally repainted. I didn't change the cabinet works in here. I basically just painted them up, put new knobs on it. So the kitchen was in good shape. Didn't have to change anything there. I did redo the bathrooms, granite counters, new toilets, new floors, new showers, new doors, new ceiling fans, new blinds, new windows. Yeah, I put in $2,000 worth of new windows in it. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car in Midwest City. Yeah, I did put in a new, yeah. So it's a good looking property, but this was a BRRRR property, baby. I BRRRR'd it. And so what I did was I went back in. So I had some here. So it's the numbers it looked like. So I bought it for 110. I put 30 in it. So I'm in it for 140. Right? That's my money. That's cash money I got in the deal. When I refinanced it, the property was 170,000, right? So I refinanced 170,000 times what I say, 75%. So of my $140,000, I got 127,000 of it back. Okay, so I got all but about $10,000. So all I got in that property right now is $10,000, and I'm making what I say net cash flow of $200 a month. So 200 times 12, net cash flow $2,400 divided by what I say I got in it, 10,000. Oh, you don't want to know what the return on that. Yeah, it's a good 25% return on that property. So that's how you do the BRRRR, baby. That's how you do it. Any questions on the ballot property?
So Ray, the biggest question I have is, how did you find a property that's worth 170,000 and you found one to pay only 110?
It's a wholesale. I had to buy it. I have bought it wholesale. I bought it from a wholesaler.
Okay.
And he bought it for, let's see, I think he bought it for 90. So he got it for a deal for 90, and he turned around and sold it to me for 110. And so he made $20,000 just selling it to me. But I still got a good deal because I got it for, what, almost 60% of the ARV. So let's look, 110 divided by 170. So 64%. I got it for 64% of the ARV. And that's where you got to buy them in order for you to make this work.
I have a question on that, Mr. Ray.
Yeah.
Did you negotiate with the wholesaler, or did you just take his price that he has set, or how does that one work?
This particular guy, he didn't negotiate. Well, I take that back. He did want 120, and I got it for 110. So I did negotiate him down 10,000, but he still made 20,000 on it. Most of them won't negotiate, but every now and then, if they got it priced too high, and if they sitting on it, the closer they get to their time running out where they got to get it under contract, the more they're willing to negotiate. Any other questions?
Mr. Ray, I have a question. On the kitchen, looks like that's not granite, is it? That's the Formica?
No, that's not granite.
Okay. What made you go ahead and keep that? As far as, did you think
in good shape?
It was in good shape.
It wasn't scratched up. It was good shape. And so I'm thinking, because if I'd have changed this kitchen out, that would have been another 3,000.
Okay.
So if you look at it, I mean, it looks pretty good. It's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I just want to know, because want to know if you do replace it though, would you go with another, would you go granted at that point, or would you keep it that because it's just
It's just
cheaper and
rental
usable?
property. I wouldn't necessarily go granted.
Okay.
I'm gonna go middle of the road and put this in there right there.
So it wouldn't really change your cash flow or make where you could up the price on your rent.
Not really.
Because of it.
Not
Okay.
just granite counters, but you know, if you have wood floors, if you have some exotic ceiling fans, I mean, things like that can change the rent. But just granite counters alone won't do it. But if you got other things and granite counters, then maybe you can charge a little bit more.
Okay.
What are you thinking about putting in yours over there, Ken?
I was thinking granite, but I mean, I want something that's just, I'm still deciding, which way
Granite's
I'm gonna
not
go.
bad if it fits in your budget, and it doesn't hurt you too bad. When women walk in and they see granite, they like granite. So
Yeah.
guys really don't care. Usually the wife is the one that's going to be making the decision anyway.
Yeah.
All we got is the money. They the decision makers.
Yeah, I just had, since I had replaced pretty much everything else, floors and everything, I just feel like, well, it's just an extra another $400
You
or
might as
something.
well do it. If you've done all that, you did the floors, you did all that, then yes, I would say
Okay.
you do that.
All right. Do you think the durability of it's pretty good that you've had in properties that had granite?
You won't have any problem with the granite.
Okay.
It's as durable as you get.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Last thing I want to show you, and I'm gonna get out of here. I finally put my one property, the one on Northwood, finally put it on the market. We posted it yesterday. Let's see, 5705 Northwood. Let's see, Zillow. Hold on. So here we go, boys and girls. We're gonna see how this one turned out. This one turned out pretty good. It's been 4 months in the making. Sits on 1.7 acres. It's 3,000 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. We're hoping to get top dollar for this, baby. We need top dollar. I'm probably 75, 80% good with what the contractor did. He took too long, I think. But the product turned out to be pretty good. There's some areas that I want it done differently. The shower, the bathrooms, all this looks good. I'll tell you the things I have concerns with. The floors are beautiful. Hardwood floors came out great. The lighting is good because I had him go back and change some of it. The chandelier I don't like. I really wanted a little bit different chandelier to really set off the interest to the property. This turned out good. I did really like that. It was the white backsplash in the bath, in the kitchen that I didn't like. That's what I didn't like. So let me show you that again. Boom, I didn't like this. I thought it could have been a different color, but Mr. Ray, he's kind of picky. Anyway,
Hey, Ray.
any questions on this property? This property is listed for $525,000 is what we're trying to get. It's been on for 2 days. We've getting a lot of activity on it. Again, it's sitting in a great area up there in Edmond. If any of you all know about Coville Road, Sorghum Hill, Sooner Road, up in that area.
Hey, Ray, the property I think looks really nice. Do you mind sharing those before photos so you can kind of contrast? Because this
Oh, yeah.
doesn't even look like the same house that I remember you sharing when you first purchased it.
Yeah, good point, Chris. So I thought about, I should have showed y'all that first, what it looked like.
Yeah, because I don't remember it having a deck.
You know?
Unless you painted it that bright red.
Hold on. Let's see. Let's show you when I first got this property, what it looked like. Open with. Hold on. I'm almost there. It's tricky sometimes when I try to show these videos when I don't open it the right way. All right. This is the, after I purchased the property, this is the first time I saw the property. We replaced the air conditioning unit, we replaced the roof, replaced all the siding, repainted everything on the outside. Mr. Ray snooping, this is right. In fact, this is before I bought the property. I'm doing my snoop, trying to see, is this property gonna be worth it?
And you paid how much originally?
Originally for this property, let's see, what? You're gonna make me pull out my number. 5705, let me pull it up. Ask any questions as we're going to while I'm looking for this. I paid $228 for this property. And rehab was $140. So I'm in it for what? What'd I say? 228 plus 140. I'm in it for 368.
Yeah, this doesn't even look like the same house.
We tore all those cabinets out that was right there.
Now you said this is you snooping. You got in the house without.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
Because the owner said I have the right to enter the property, even though it was in foreclosure. I told him there was a lock on the door. I said, do you give me permission to enter the property? He said, yes. And so I busted the lock off of it and entered it and put his lock on it. Because the bank had come over and locked it down.
I think the rehab, you did an outstanding job.
Well, I appreciate that. It took longer than what I wanted to. It was over 4 months. Supposed to have been 4 months. It was almost 5 months. But you know what? It's a labor of love. That's the thing about real estate, man. You got to invest it, and then you got to let it grow. It's almost like planting seeds. You can't go every day and look at it and say, oh, it ain't growing. You got to let it grow. Had that old style bathtub in there. This house was built in 1973. So this was the original 1973 stuff in there.
Was it the same contractor you used on on
Yes.
that
Uh-huh,
two-story?
Rolling Green, yeah.
What it cost you for to do a roof on that thing?
I think the roof was 5,000.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, it wasn't. And the roof sets it off too. When you drive up to a property, you see a brand new roof, makes all the difference in the world. Now, we've been getting a lot of action on this. We've had, let's see, put it on yesterday. We showed it 5 times yesterday. And we had it scheduled 4 times a day. So I'm hoping somebody's gonna give me an offer in the next couple of days.
So on this one, this was one of your wholesale deals that you
Yes,
was able to do?
I got this from pre-foreclosure. I worked the list that I had that I'm having my platinum team work, and I got it off the list. I called the guy, say, hey, you interested in selling? He said, yes. I went by and looked at the property, ran my numbers. I knew that this property was worth over $400,000. You know, even if I just did a little bit of work to it, just because the area, the square footage, and the acreage. I mean, it's almost 2 acres. So I knew I had a diamond in the rough if I could get it repaired for the right cost.
Did you run into any unexpected issues along that based off from what you thought you were getting into?
No, we have a hard price on the price. What we didn't have a good understanding on was the time frame to completion. I should have held him to the 4 months, and he ended up went almost 5 months. Okay, so yeah, there were some issues that came up. He had painted some stuff on the outside black that I didn't want, so he had to repaint it. He had to redo some texture work, had to change out some of the lighting. I mean, there's always stuff. The biggest thing for me was he didn't upgrade it as high as I thought it should have been upgraded. It looked more like my Rolling Green property, where I expected more high dollar, cabinetry, things like that. So we took the island out. You see, there was an island here. Took that island out.
Oh yeah, that did
It opened it up.
It was kind of congested in there.
Yeah. So, but overall, I mean, I guess I'm happy. We'll see when I get that check at the closing. Then I'll probably be happy then.
You'll get your money. It is a nice area out there. I know
it is. I like I said, I'm thinking, it may even go down to about 490, 495, but I think I'm trying to get close to that 5.
I'll say keep it where it is for a while. I know someone.
Well, yeah, as long as people are coming to see it, as long as people are showing interest, then I'm definitely gonna keep it there. When it starts waning on interest, then I'll start lowering it some.